The presidential elections in the US always got a lot of attention from people around the world. As the most powerful nation on earth, the US president has the ultimate power to influence the economy and the politics of a wide range of nations. For that reason, there's always a debate about who can become the next US president. The same case happens to the US presidential election of 2016, in which Republican Donald Trump lost the popular vote to Democrat Hillary Clinton by more than 2.8 million votes, but won 30 states and the decisive electoral college with 304 electoral votes to Clinton's 227, making him the 45th president of the US. In the aftermath of the election, Donald Trump's victory in the 2016 US presidential campaign has raised debate about the spread of fake news websites, which circulated widely before and during the 2016 election, reaching millions of users via Facebook sharing. Many feared that fake news articles spread on Facebook swayed the results of the election. Donald Trump is argued to have won against Hillary Clinton due to the influence of Facebook, and fake news was alleged to have been vital in the election of President Trump. Many also argued that false content played a significant role in the 2016 election and in the ongoing political divisions and crisis that have followed it. It was also later revealed that 27% of American users visited minimum one fake news website a few weeks before the 2016 election, and that Facebook was vital in the dissemination. In today's video, I want to investigate the dissemination of fake news on Facebook in relation to the 2016 election to see whether or not fake news on Facebook influenced the winning of President Donald Trump. First, let's find out what is known about the production of fake news in the context of the US presidential election of 2016. A 2017 study by researchers from New York University and Stanford found that social media plays a vital role in bringing users to fake news sites than it plays in bringing them to authentic news sites. Later on, a 2018 study by guests from Princeton University and its co-authors identified Facebook as the key mechanism facilitating the spread of this fake news. According to the team, the more people use Facebook, the more fake news they consumed. Another study, conducted by a group of scholars from Oxford University, of nearly 25,000 election social media messages shared by Michigan voters, identified nearly half as unverified WikiLeaks content and Russian origin news stories that fall under the definition of propaganda based on its use of language and emotional appeals. Now let's look at some of the most prominent evidence of fake news on Facebook that affects the presidential candidates in the 2016 election. First, the most famous example of an indisputably fake news story that has real-world consequences. On 4th December, a North Carolina man opened fire at the Washington pizzeria Comet Ping Pong, which an online conspiracy theory purports to be the headquarters of a child sex ring run by Hillary Clinton, a presidential candidate in the 2016. Regarding this event, Chris Nagus, an investigative reporter at News 4 St. Louis, shared false information that accused Clinton of multiple incidences of child trafficking and sex scandals. Later on, the information was proved to be false. However, the story gained sufficient momentum for a poll of over 1,200 registered voters in late September to find that 40% of Trump supporters believed it to be true. Chris Nagus was not only the only public figure who shares misleading or false news about the 2016 presidential candidate. In fact, it's been reported that false celebrity gossip became a huge issue during the US election campaign in 2016. According to Poynter, during the election, searching for celebrities' names on Facebook has shown many fake news stories in the results. Many fabricated stories about celebrities attacking presidential candidates were circulated on Facebook. Targets include Sylvester Stallone, Miley Cyrus, Katy Perry, Harrison Ford, Jim Carrey, and many more. These fake celebrity stories generated hundreds of thousands of Facebook engagements. It was later found out that these stories were only a photo and a falsified headline. In the final 3 months of the US presidential campaign, a BuzzFeed News analysis found that the top-performing fake election news stories on Facebook generated more engagement than the top stories from major news outlets such as the New York Times, Washington Post, Huffington Post, and the NBC News. Specifically, during these critical months of the campaign, 20 top-performing false election stories from host sites and hyper-partisan blogs generated 8,700,000 engagements on Facebook, compared to 7,700,000 367,000 engagements generated by 20 best performing election stories from 19 major news websites. One example is the remarkably successful, utterly untrustworthy site Ending the Fed. It was responsible for 4 of the top 10 false election stories identified in the analysis: Pope Francis endorsing Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton selling weapons to ISIS, Hillary Clinton being disqualified from holding federal office, and the FBI director receiving millions from the Clinton Foundations. These 4 stories racked up a total of roughly 2,950,000 Facebook engagements in the 3 months leading up to Election Day. It is undeniable that the dissemination of fake news on Facebook impacted the election. What is not clear, however, is how much of an impact these fake news stories had on the outcome of the 2016 election. There have been no empirically based studies that have systematically assessed the extent to which believing fake news stories influenced voting decisions in 2016. However, a study conducted by scholars at The Ohio State University in December 2016 concludes that fake news most likely did have a substantial impact on the voting decisions of a strategically important set of voters. The study results suggest that it is highly likely that the pernicious pollution of the political discourse by fake news was sufficient to influence the outcome of what was a very close election. On the other hand, new research finds that fake news is not the main driver for voting decisions in 2016 election. The latest research by Garrett from Ohio State University concludes that during the 2012 and 2016 presidential elections, social media contributed relatively little to Americans' willingness to endorse political falsehoods. There is simply no evidence that social media are having a powerful and consistent influence on citizens' belief accuracy. After the 2016 election, Facebook deals with criticism that it allowed false content to run uncontrolled during the presidential campaign. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg took personal responsibility for the spread of fake news on the platform. However, he has rejected the notion that Facebook influenced the outcome of the election. He said it was a crazy idea to suggest that fake news on Facebook helped sway voters. He stated that voters make decisions based on their lived experience. There is a profound lack of empathy in asserting that the only reason someone could have voted the way they did is because they saw fake news, and anyone who believes that has failed to internalize the message supporters of Donald Trump sent during the election. He also rejected the idea that people's news feeds are becoming increasingly personalized to the point that opposing views are no longer visible, a phenomenon known as the filter bubble. Mark said, "We have already launched work enabling our community to flag hoaxes and fake news, and there is more we can do here." In fact, Facebook is now taking action to fight the production of fake news on its social network. According to The Time, by 2018, Facebook identified and removed 559 pages and 251 accounts that were coordinating the spread of misinformation around the US. Besides, the company has also introduced fact-checking systems in around 20 countries to identify false stories. Facebook users in the US can now flag articles they think are deliberately false. These will then go to third-party fact-checkers. Those fact-checkers come from media organizations like the Washington Post and the websites such as the urban legend debunking site Snopes.com. However, said Claire Waddle, research director at the Tao Center for Digital Journalism, Facebook stumbled into the news business without systems, editorial frameworks, and editorial guidelines, and now is trying to course correct. Facebook will need to change its business model if it wants to address these editorial challenges. Currently, the truth of a piece of content is less important than whether it is shared, liked, and monetized. These engagement metrics distort the media landscape, allowing clickbait, hyperbole, and misinformation to proliferate. And on Facebook's voracious newsfeed, the emphasis is on the quantity of posts, not spending time on powerful, authoritative, well-researched journalism. A Facebook spokesperson had told BuzzFeed News, "While Facebook played a part in this election, it was just one of many ways people received the information, and was one of the many ways people connected with their leaders, engaged in the political process, and shared their views." Despite Facebook's arguments to the contrary, according to Donald Trump's digital director Brad Bosco, the social media giant was massively influential in Trump's winning, not because it was tipping the scales with fake news, but because it helped generate the bulk of the campaign's $250 million in online fundraising eclipsing the Clinton campaign that still devoted a lot of its attention to TV. Simply speaking, undecided voters are more likely to hear from Trump while skimming their social feeds. This suggests that future American political candidates may have to emphasize Facebook if they want to win. They can't just treat it as one part of a larger plan. And what do you think about the relationship between the production of fake news on Facebook and the outcome of 2016 election? Please let me know in the comment section below. Thank you and bye-bye.